Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House?
Sure. Come on in.
They have cold beer and action on the game.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
It's time for the Degenerates Next Door.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Has anybody seen the movie Christmas with the Cranks with Tim Allen? It's a Christmas movie where Tim Allen is ready to spend some time with his wife, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Because the daughter is out of the house. You know, she's ran off to the Peace Corps or something. And Tim Allen's like, you know what? We're kind of empty nesters here. Let's skip all the Christmas stuff. Let's just go on a cruise. But the thing is, it had to be a full-on boycott. There were no Christmas cards, no Christmas decorations, no trees. A full-on boycott. That was the storyline of Christmas with the Cranks. My name is Jason Hammer. Rob Kendall's right across from me. We are the Degenerates Next Door, brought to you by StatFactory.io. And Rob, the reason I bring up that obscure kind of holiday movie is I see a lot of similarities between Tim Allen's character and you.
Yeah.
You have made it clear that you are boycotting the Super Bowl this year.
That's right.
Now, when I say boycott, you're not gambling on it.
Nope.
You're not watching it in any way.
Nope.
You're not going to any Super Bowl parties.
Nope.
It's a full-on Christmas with the Cranks style boycott.
That's correct.
Why?
Did you watch that AFC Championship game? Did you watch the AFC Championship game? You know, it's so funny because you and I had talked about kind of, I don't know, we may have even mentioned it on the show, that if there were any close calls, you would anticipate they would go in favor of the Bills because everybody and their brother believes the fix is in for the Chiefs. You and I had even commented on this, that, hey, in betting, they might actually get a close call because the league's got to be aware that everybody believes the game is rigged in favor of the Chiefs.
Everybody was talking about it. Like news programs, sports programs, national, local. There were a lot of people. You know, some a little bit more Alex Jones tinfoil than others, but it was a conversation point. The Chiefs were getting a lot of calls.
And so I went over to my old man's to watch the game. And before the game started, I, kind of only half jokingly said, let's see how many blatantly obvious calls go against the Bills and screw them out of this game. And I have never, Hammer. I've been watching, obviously replay hasn't been around the entire time, but in all the years I've been watching football, I'm a 40 plus year old man. I have never seen, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the same game where all 3 people calling the game, the play-by-play guy, the color guy, and the rules guy, all agree this call should go against one team in favor of another team, and the exact opposite happened. I've never seen that in my entire life. I mean, you've got Jim Nantz, who's been doing 35 years of football, knows a thing or two about football, right? He's the main guy. Tony Romo didn't do great in the postseason, but quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, knows a thing or two about football. Gene Salator, wasn't he the main ref guy at one point?
Yes.
Knows a thing or two about football. All 3 of them, on 3 separate instances, said, here's what the call should be, and it was the exact opposite. I'm done. It's pro wrestling now. It's rigged. You know the outcome is predetermined, and they're going to get whatever they want to get. So why would I participate with anything related to the Chiefs anymore?
So what's your counter when people say stars have always gotten calls? Like we grew up in Indianapolis. Peyton Manning always got calls. As a matter of fact, when the Colts got their ass whipped in the playoffs by the Patriots once, the Colts were so salty, they went to the league and made them change pass interference rules. Like in other sports, big stars always get the calls. Michael Jordan, LeBron James. This isn't anything new. So what about now has broken you?
Okay, so 2 things. One, the majority of like Manning's time in central Indiana, there was no replay. The premise of the replay is to fix the egregious calls. So let's talk about the spot on the Josh Allen first down lunge. First of all, the guy got it on the play before. Clearly the tight end extends his hand. The ball is beyond the line to gain. Okay, they don't give it to him. They say his knee was down. Fine. Josh Allen runs the quarterback sneak. The 2 officials run in from separate ends of the field. The one official is like a length of the football ahead of where the first down marker is. The other guy is like kind of right where the first down marker is. So if they were to meet in the middle even, it's still easily a first down. As the one official is running towards the marker, towards the ball, a Chiefs player proceeds to step in his way. How that's not a personal foul. How you can just step at and basically play man-to-man defense on an official running towards the ball, bitching at the official. The official then runs out of his way towards the Chiefs' side of where the ball was spotted. And then that just magically becomes the line where he was running. He looked like an episode of Frogger. Like, remember on Seinfeld, the Frogger game where George is moving up and back, left and right? That's what that official was doing. And somehow magically that became the line to gain. The one play with the interception, the ball is on the ground. Nobody has possession of the ball. The ball is on the ground. All three of the guys in the booth said, at worst, that's an incomplete pass. At best, that's an interception for the Bills. Oh, it's a completed pass for the Chiefs. It's obvious stuff. It's not even stuff that it's like, well, that's up for debate. What's the point in watching? How do you even bet on something that's totally rigged?
So you think the fix is in?
Totally.
Okay.
Do you disagree?
I mean, the Bills also did not do themselves favors. There's no reason to go for twos that early on. If they kicked the extra points, look what they lost by. I mean, it's the difference in the game by being greedy early on. You don't need to go for twos early on.
But this happens week after week after week. It was not this egregious yet. And I don't remember anything that was quite this. The other thing is, let's talk about the still photo of the Mahomes as the ball in the backfield. There's a Bills defender closing in on him. The Chiefs lineman then enacts a Brutus the Barber Beefcake sleeper hold in the backfield. No penalty on that. That kick return. 4 holding penalties on that kick return. None of it gets called. What's the point?
And the thing to point out, you're not some big Bills fan that's just salty. You're not a Bills guy at all. You're just somebody that says, you know what? I don't really see a lot of difference between WWE Royal Rumble this Saturday and the official that is in charge of the Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo Bills game.
You know, I'm going to watch the Royal Rumble because I know it's rigged. They now, you know, there was a time where they didn't tell you that. You and I have had this conversation before. But I know going in, hey, we tell you the outcome is predetermined and you know it and just enjoy the show. They're presenting this to me as real sport. And I'm sick of wasting 3 hours week in and week out on these Chiefs games just for them to magically find a way to pull it out at the end. I'm also sick of Mahomes manipulating the rules. Oh, am I going out of bounds? Oh, am I going to slide? Oh, am I going to do neither?
Wouldn't you do the same thing, though, if you were Patrick Mahomes?
But it's complete crap, Hammer. They've known this for years, and they deliberately don't alter that rule, and they know he's blatantly manipulating. And then if you tackle him, he had a foot out of bounds. Personal foul penalty. I'm sick of it. Sick of it.
So as a radio talk show host, because other than a degenerate that gambles on games, you are a very successful radio talk show host. What are you going to do that next Monday? Because your audience is expecting you to have an opinion on the national anthem, the flyover, the halftime show, the commercials. The Super Bowl itself is the biggest pop culture event every year this country has to offer. And you're not going to be part of any of it. How are you going to host a talk show and respond to your audience if you go full Christmas with the Cranks?
We'll just do what I normally do. We'll talk about applicable tax rates, sewers, roads. Maybe there'll be some snow that didn't get shoveled.
Local government stuff.
You've got prominent people. Like, here's what amazed me. The amount of prominent, legitimate people who are now saying it's rigged. Like, I saw Joel Klatt put something out about it. I mean, that dude's totally cool, mainstream. I've seen him give millions of interviews. He's a normal guy, a lot of stuff with the draft.
Now, Adam Schefter of ESPN, he's not said that it's rigged, but he's talked about questions with the officiating group. McAfee pushed back on him and said, now, hold on here. Everybody talks about the egregious non-calls that we saw, but there are some calls that go the other way that nobody wants to talk about, too. Does McAfee have a point?
What's the point in having replay? I mean, this is what gets me, is this is stuff that is blatantly obvious on replay that these calls are missed. Why do we even look? Officials used to miss calls all the time in real time because it was bang bang. I thought the premise of the replay was so we don't miss important, blatantly obvious calls.
So what are you going to do on Super Bowl Sunday now? Are you just going to sit around and watch, Matlock, or are you going to read a book? Because you can't get on social media. You can't turn on television. You can't turn on the radio because all of those things are surrounded by the big game.
I've got a whole channel on my television that plays nothing but old Chris Hansen episodes over and over and over again. I'll be fine.
So you're going to watch Datelines to Catch a Predator and not the biggest single-day pop culture event this country has to offer.
I'm going to make a prediction right now. Are you ready? All
okay.
right, this is my prediction. I think this is going to be the lowest rated Super Bowl in a very long time. I think so many people are sick of this, and I don't think the ads have the lure they once did. A lot of them leak out in advance anyway. I don't think like the halftime show, because they've kind of gone away from a demo that an older people would want to watch. I think it's going to be one of the lowest rated Super Bowls of in a very long time because people hate both of these teams.
And you're all in on this, a full boycott.
I mean, if you could talk me out of it, but if you're me, why would I engage in something that's totally rigged?
Because I've gambled on Russian ping pong. Now, I'm pretty sure that's rigged before, but I'm a gambling degenerate. Myself and Dan Dockich have each bet on Russian ping pong during the pandemic. I think it was rigged, but that's the level of gambling degenerate that I am.
I get no joy out of watching Chiefs games. None. Like, I hate seeing Taylor Swift. I hate seeing how Mahomes manipulates the rules. I know the refs just give them every single call. Why would I make myself angry? Like, I was so mad during that game. I had to leave my dad's house at halftime and watch the rest of it by myself.
All right. So there you go. So Rob is out on the Super Bowl.
Unless you can bring me back in, but I don't see how you're going to do that.
Gambling. Only thing I can offer you is gambling. Like, there's one day a year where people in this country, black, white, Republicans, Democrats, will stop what they're doing and all gamble on a coin toss. And that will happen 1 week from this Sunday. People will gamble on a freaking coin toss. And guess what, Rob? I'm people. I'm people. I will gamble on the coin toss.
So you don't appear enraged at all about this. It costs you money.
I have gambled on worse. I'm telling you right now, I have gambled on worse. Until you have bet on Russian table tennis during the pandemic, until you may or may not have made a back alley wager on a high school game, you haven't done worse. So I'm in. I don't like either team. I think Nick Sirianni, and I've said this on this program, one of the most punchable faces in the NFL.
Yeah.
And of course, the Chiefs. The thing is, I kind of like Andy Reid. Like, I think Andy Reid is a really good coach. I think he's a good guy. Got ran out of Philly when he shouldn't have been. I like Andy Reid a great deal. I love the fact that when he was a kid, he was super fat and bigger than the other kids in that punt, pass, and kick competition, and he's got a helmet on that's way too small. I think that's hilarious. I'm worn out by the Chiefs winning. I'm worn out by Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. They kind of get on my nerves. I don't love either team, but that's where gambling comes in.
I want this to be the lowest rated Super Bowl in a long time, which I think it might be, and I want to play a part in that. I want to be able to be on the team. Like, this is the new team. Hey, we made this. We didn't give in. We finally said enough is enough.
Gonna take a break. When we come back, we will have some action tonight. We've got some college basketball games, and we're going to hear from our professional, David Stefanoff of followneverfade.com. He's got a play for us. He's coming up in just a moment. We are the Degenerates Next Door, brought to you by StatFactory.io. Back on the Degenerates Next Door, brought to you by StatFactory.io, your one-stop shop for all things sports betting statistics. Become a better when you use StatFactory.io. Check it out right now, the AI feature. It's coming. It's right around the corner, and you can still take advantage of the free preview. Sign up for the free trial, StatFactory.io. All right, action tonight. Got a big one in the SEC. Kentucky down in good old Rocky Top to take on the Volunteers. Let's see what our professional thinks. David Stefanoff, pro handicapper from followneverfade.com. David, the SEC, it's a basketball conference this year, and we got a big one tonight.
You ain't lying. First off, thank you, Rob, and thank you, Hammer, for having me. SEC action night. Gave you guys a winner last week in Missouri Valley action last Tuesday night. We're going to go back tonight. I love this game, Hammer, even though looks like Kentucky's missing probably the two best point guards. This is going to be probably a mismatch on paper and maybe probably on the court. I'm liking this line opened up crazy yesterday. This line opened up at 8.5 and shot to 9.5, 10. That's to 10.5 this morning. And the reason is Tennessee's off a bad loss to Auburn. Kentucky is missing, like I said, the two best players. This is at Tennessee. It's a bad spot for Kentucky tonight. I think the line's sitting at 10.5, 144 right now, Hammer. I think that's what it was earlier this morning, 145-ish. I think this is a horrible spot for Kentucky. Tennessee, number one, is one of the best defensive teams in the country. Kim Palm, they're up there in Kim Palm, like sixth in Kim Palm. Kentucky's no slouch, don't get me wrong, but missing Lamont Butler and missing King Krisa, those are 2-point guards that start for be all conference, any other conference in America. They're going to be behind the 8 ball. Tennessee's going to lock them down. I like the under in this game tonight. When Tennessee holds their opponents to 62 points or less in a game, they're like 12-2 this year so far. I like the under in this game. I think Tennessee routs them big time. I think it's an easy double-digit win. I'm going to lay the points with Tennessee, but I'm all over this under in this game tonight.
All right, so I'm on this game as well, but I've got a different play, but I think we're kind of thinking the same thing here, David. I like Tennessee coming off of a loss. Seems like every time this year Tennessee has had a loss, they've played really well right afterwards. They're at home. Place is going to be rocking. Kentucky comes in. I like Tennessee minus 5.5 in the first half. I think Tennessee comes out after the loss. They lock down some defense. Kentucky, like you said, they're a little bit banged up here. The first half is where I'm putting my money at. I'm going to lay 5.5 first half on the Vols.
These are the kind of games Rick Barnes dominates. He wins the games that don't matter. He gets the victories that he wins at home. I'm with you here. I think the Tennessee wins this. That's a good line if you got 5 minus 5 first half.
All right, so let's turn our attention to a big rivalry game coming up on Friday. The Hoosiers at the Boilermakers. Now I know there are more high-profile rivalry games around the country this weekend, but this one is interesting. And Rob and I are going to talk about this here in just a moment. I think there's a lot of IU fans who want Purdue to beat the brakes off of them because that will give the motivation for Scott Dolson and the athletic department at Indiana to move away from that lazy-ass Mike Woodson. Do you buy that?
I'm totally all in on getting rid of. I mean, I'm not going to get politics. Don't Woodson kind of look like Sleepy Joe on the sideline sometimes? I mean, we've seen Goody had to make him go back to the huddle and shake hands last game. Indiana's a train wreck, Hammer.
Like, are you thinking around 10 or 11? Because off the top of my head, that's where I would be at.
At least 10.5. At least 10.5. They have to be.
All right. If anybody would like to get your expertise and sign up for a package with college basketball, where can they go?
Hey, follow neverfade.com. I'm on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever they call it. Every single day I post free plays. But if you want to message me directly on one of them platforms. It's easy to get a hold of. $100 a week. I'll tell you when I win. I tell you when I lose. Right now, we almost committed suicide last night over the Arizona half court shot. So right now we're kind of gun shy. We took a bad beat last night. That was one of the sickest beats I've seen so far. Anyways, we're on all platforms: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I'm easy to get a hold of. Message me directly. Have a great week, and I thank you everybody for following me and following this podcast because it's hot. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Hammer. I really like the Kentucky in Tennessee game under tonight, and have a great day and follow Never Fade.
All right, so Rob Kendall, you have a degree on your wall that says Indiana University.
That's right.
The Hoosiers are on the road at Purdue this Friday, and kind of like what happened in football season, where there were a lot of Purdue football fans going, Coach Sig, please come in here, beat our brains so bad that they make that coaching decision so obvious that it happens very soon. Please blow us out so that gives the athletic department the motivation they need to move forward. Coach Sig did that. And now I think it's Purdue's time to return the favor. I've been speaking with a lot of IU basketball fans, and I'm going to say probably about 80% of the people I've spoken with, about 80% have said, this game is on national television, it's Friday night, it's on Fox, if Purdue just absolutely beats the hell out of Indiana, beats them by 20, 25, 30, it's not competitive, maybe that gives the IU athletic department the motivation they need to fire Mike Woodson, who seems like he doesn't want to be there. He seems lazy. There are IU fans wanting Purdue to blow them out this weekend. Do you buy that?
I'm one of them. So I'm in on it. I mean, look, the program is, it's not going to get any better under Woodson. He can't construct a team. He gets these players. They're supposed to be great players, but there's no team construction. Indiana's
number 3 in NIL money, and look what they're getting for it.
I mean, they're lazy. The players can't shoot. And it's the same thing every year. Like, clearly, this is not getting any better. Look at the players he's had over the last several years. That Khalil Ware is going to probably be Rookie of the Year this year in the NBA. They couldn't even make the tournament last year. I mean, you had Trace Jackson Davis and the Hood Schifino couldn't get out of the second round of the tournament. I mean, this is not getting any better. He has to go before it'll get better, and I think the only way he's going to go is if it gets so bad that they run. They don't have a choice but to get him out of there. So absolutely. And by the way, no line yet. It doesn't matter what the line is. If it's 50, I take Purdue laying 50 against IU because I think they'll beat them by that much.
Are you doing what I think you're doing? Is this a throwback to what we did during college football season where you rode the fade Purdue train all the way through the season for financial gain? Are you fade IU guy every game now?
It's the switcheroo. Now we're one out of 2 with fade IU because we won the Northwestern game, fade IU. Somehow Maryland was a 3.5-point favorite in that game against IU. I have no idea how they were actually a favorite in that game because Maryland's not that great either. And I thought every home team that's how bad IU is. As a home team in the Big Ten, where every home team is the favorite, see Ohio State and Iowa last night.
Right.
Maybe we'll get to that in a second. IU was somehow an underdog, and what was it? It ended up being 1. They lost by 1, but they lost at home. Point is, IU stinks. I'm fade IU the remainder of the year. I hope they lose by 40, and then maybe we can go on to the next guy who also let me down.
You heard David Stefanoff earlier, the half-court shot bad beat last night in the Arizona-Iowa State game. I did not have action on that, but I did have action on an Iowa team. So, Rob Kendall, since you brought them up, Let's play a round of America's favorite game sensation. Who's going to screw me? And this brings us to the Iowa Hawkeyes. 2 straight games. I've done the homework. I've done the research. I've talked to Iowa fans, media members, and I've had my ass handed to me twice.
Yeah.
The Hawkeyes laying a complete egg at home against a bad Minnesota team. All right, that's a bad loss. Everybody gets one in the Big Ten, survive in advance. I figured they'd come out hungry on the road at Ohio State. This is the same Ohio State team that lost at home to Indiana.
That's right.
Who's ass.
Yeah.
And they were getting 7. The Hawkeyes were getting 7. I thought this would be a slugfest type of game. Big Ten teams going at each other. No. Ass whipping.
Yeah.
Belt to ass. That's what happened twice with the Iowa Hawkeyes. So I'm done. I am retiring. Like when Joe Theismann had his leg broken on Monday Night Football, that was it. No more pain. No more pain for me. No more Iowa Hawkeyes. They are the college basketball version of the Golden Gophers in football.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, I'm going to lose.
And their coach is pretty unlikable, too, which is the Minnesota guy.
Oh, Fran McCaffrey. On one hand, I've got Fran McCaffrey. On the other side, row your boat guy.
That's right.
I think Fran is way more unlikable than row your boat guy, but boy, they both just screw me all the time. All right, one more time out here. We've got a Degenerate special. When we come back, don't go anywhere. We're having a good time. We are the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door, brought to you by StatFactory.io. Sign up for that free preview. Get all of the stats. Become a better with StatFactory.io. All right, Rob, we have got some action tonight. Some games are better than others. Kentucky at Tennessee, 2 teams in the top 10. Should be a rocking atmosphere in the SEC in Tennessee. You guys can watch that. I am going to watch a different game.
You're passing on the ball?
It's time for Hammer's Degenerates Special.
Yes, Rob, I'm passing on the Vols. Because when 5-14 Western Michigan travels to Funcy, good old Muncie, Indiana, to take on the 9-10 Ball State Cardinals, it warrants my full attention. The Fighting Michael Lewises of Ball State are a 4.5-point home favorite tonight.
What's the Ball State record? What are they?
9-10.
Oh, then they're the better team, clearly.
Over under tonight is set at 150. So looking at Western Michigan, again, 5-14, they're on the road tonight. They have an average of 71.5 points per game. That's good for 256th in the nation. They connect on 42.4% from the field. They're shooting 27.2 from the three-point line and just 66.8% from the free throw line. Now, as a team, Western Michigan, they collect about 38 rebounds per game, and that's good for about 314th in the country. They cough up possession 11.1 times per game, and they commit 18 fouls per game on a nightly basis.
That's a lot.
Okay, let's talk about Western Michigan defensively. 264th in the nation and giving up assists to the opposition. The Broncos are giving up a field goal percentage of 46.4, and they concede 34 rebounds a game. They're giving up 35% on shots from the three-point line, which makes them 302nd in the nation. All right, so we've established Western Michigan stinks, right? Let's talk about Ball State. Defensively, Ball State, 243rd in the nation in points allowed per game. They allow teams to shoot 43.2 from the floor, and Ball State's defense allows teams to shoot nearly 33% from the three-point line. They don't rebound the ball well either. They're 202nd in the country. So the way I see this, Rob, two ass teams playing each other. Nobody plays any defense. The total is 150. We're going to ride the lightning.
Oh.
We're going over 150 in Muncie, Indiana tonight, and that is your Degenerate Special. All right, we're going to come back on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to figure out a way to get you engaged into the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
You can't just not watch it because you don't like the teams.
How long have we been friends, Hammer? We've
Long
been friends
time.
a long time. Have you ever known me to like I am the let's get nuts guy, right? Like, don't threaten me with a good time. If anybody could sit out the Super Bowl, it's me.
I'm going to come up with something, and I'm going to get you engaged.
I don't know.
All right, so if you've got an idea on how we can engage Rob into the Super Bowl here, hit us up on our Twitter page. Look for Degenerates Next Door. Just type it in. You'll see the little cartoon picture of us. You can send us a message that way, or our individual Twitter accounts. He's at Rob M. Kendall. I am at Jason Allen Hammer, and we will talk to you on Thursday for another edition of the Degenerates Next Door.